Good day to one and all. This is Dr. Sivaraman of iknowindices.com. Hope you are able to hear me. Good day, Sandra. Thanks for confirming. The audibility is fine. Let me display the PowerPoint presentation. Asian session live market analysis on March 12th. So between 5 and 5:30 GMT, we'll review the market using the live market code page. Let me give the live market code page for you to open it in a browser. This is the link. You can use it to open it in a browser. I'll also focus the camera over that of the live market code page and we'll review the market. Currently, Euro is trading around 1.3088, 1.3089, 1.3125 is the high, 1.3086 is the low, 34 pips negative net change is seen. Much against the expectations for the non-farm payroll, they just made the drop and continued the drop during the US session last week, and they are expected to gain the level, but they dropped it. But it happens in the market, so they can just make the move against the expectations of the forecast, but they are expected to bring the market in line with that of the forecast very soon. So now for the week beginning, they have just made the drop in the case of Euro about 36 pips. In the case of USD about 12 pips. So currently trading around 82.36, 82.37, 82.53 is the high, 82.11 is the low. And both are showing negative net change, indicating that they are showing contrarian move. Then GBP has made a nominal dip from the Friday close. Only 14 pips negative net change is seen. And trading around 56.58, 56.61, 56.77 is the low, high, 56.58 is the low. When Euro has made about 35 pips negative net change, GBP has done only 14 pips negative net change, indicating that they are just making a small dip in the case of Euro GBP. Currently trading around 83.57, 83.59, 14 pips negative net change is seen. Now, in the case of CHF, they just gained some more levels, and 92.12, 92.15 are the current levels, 92.16 is the high, 91.90 is the low, 24 pips positive net change is seen. When Euro has done about 35 pips negative net change, USD CHF has gained only about 24 pips. So that shows that they want to hold USD CHF and slowly gain the level so that Euro CHF could do a downward stop, and here 2057, 2060 are the current levels, 2063 is the high and 2055 is the low, 000 net change is seen. So they are slowly holding at the lower level. In the case of Euro CHF, probably they may do a downward stop and for about 5 to 10 pips, and then later on they are expected to gain the levels in the case of Euro CHF. Now coming to that of the commodity price, so as far as the majors are concerned, they are making the contrarian move. USD yen is showing negative net change and USD CHF is showing positive net change, and Euro yen and GBP are showing negative net change. Then with regard to the commodity pairs, Canadian dollar is trading around 99.25 and 99.27. 99.30 is the high, 99.02 is the low, 20 pips positive net change is seen. So it is a USD gaining move. And in the case of Australian dollar also, it is showing USD gaining move by a negative net change of 44 pips. And currently trading around 1.0531, 1.0533, 1.0575 is the high, 1.0526 is the low. So here you come across the USD gaining move for the week beginning. As usual, we know that week beginning they used to make a false move. So when they are showing USD gaining move, that USD gaining move is a false move for the week beginning. Later on, they are expected to make the USD weakening move in the market. So that is what at the moment we study. And currently, Euro has just formed the low and not breached the low, and GBP also formed the low, not breached the low. And we will learn about it by referring to that of the initial lows and the highs, which are set around 3:30 GMT. Let me focus the camera over that of the PowerPoint presentation. So after watching the live market code page, we just make a note of the initial high and the low around 3:30 GMT. So that is the time by which they set the initial lows and the highs, and that is being used throughout the day as the reference levels. So we note down in terms of GMT and in the case of four majors and two commodity pairs. So the six pairs they try to move by which they are able to bring in the volatility in all other majors as well as the crosses. So that is how the crosses of the yen, the crosses of the European crosses and also the crosses of the commodity pairs, they are able to handle it by making only the specific moves and the contrarian move. There are three types of moves they can do it. One is the USD gaining move, another one is the USD weakening move, the third is the contrarian move. At the moment they are doing the contrarian move in the case of majors and the USD gaining move in the case of commodity pairs. That way they are able to bring moves or quick volatile moves in the case of the commodity pairs. Then later on they are expected to come to the majors during the late sessions, during session start and late session, or the early session and the late session, they just handle the majors, and during the mid sessions they handle the crosses. We know about it. So once we use the levels as the reference level, we identify what sort of or the type of moves and in sequence how they are expected to make it during the day. And today, for that we need to know the initial lows and the highs. I'll show the next slide and explain to you what sort of moves they could do it during the day. Then irrespective of the type of moves, what we do is if the market is near that of the low, and we try to take a buy when the low is not being breached for more than 30 minutes during the early or the late session as far as the majors are concerned. Then afterwards, we know that we have the limitations as a human. The market can act against us. So we keep entry stop as the hedging order or a stop if the hedging facility is not available around 30 pips. So if the equity is good, probably you can make it at 35 pips or 40 pips. But beyond that, don't keep that stop, because in the event if they hit your stop, because we keep the stop in with the understanding that they will not hit the stop. But you know that the players are capable of learning where the cluster of stops are. So if you keep a deep stop of about 100 pips, 90 pips and things like that, if they happen to know that a lot of traders have kept the stops there, they may go and hit the stop. Then the loss might be very big, and we might be able to, we might really become demoralized. So instead, keep 30 pips stop or the entry stop. If you use the entry stop, then it becomes an additional position only. It doesn't close the original position. Then, like a short seller, you can handle the hedge, and like a long holder, you can handle the original position. That way, you will be able to come out of that particular hedging or cut the hedging with a nominal loss in case if the hedging is making loss for more than 30 minutes. Or if the hedging is making profit, we simply keep stop at entry in the hedging and wait for the market to close it. Then keep another hedging order below that immediately and trail it up as they move the market upward. This systematically or procedurally, if we try to use the hedging, we'll be able to really conserve your equity and also earn from that of the market. Once the buy position makes profit, keep stop at entry and remove the hedging order. Then trail the stop in order to maximize the profit in the profit making position and keep the limit around that of the high if you are taking a buy and sell trade. And if the going is good, they come up to that of the high, then you move it up to 150 pips net change level on the higher side, and they might be able to fill your trailing stop or the limit. As a result, you will be able to get the maximum profit out of a single trade. And maximizing the profit in each trade is a trading skill. And if you try to do it, you'll be able to see that you are taking only very less positions and maximizing the profit in each of the positions. And if you think that it is better to close the position and re-enter, close the position and re-enter, Probably it may trigger your impulsiveness and gradually you may become a scalper. Aim for about 5 to 10 pips and cut 5 10 pips loss and book 5 10 pips profit and things like that. You become more and more impulsive, and at the end of the day, if you see that, you will be standing where you are started. Because some of the trades you would have just closed it with a profit, certain other trades with a loss, and ultimately you would not have seen any headway in that. So try to control your emotions and try to see that you are using the trading strategies effectively, and whatever be the type of forecast or whatever be our market reading, and always keep in mind that the players have got a better hold of the market when compared to us. We indirectly read the market moves, but the players directly read the traders' pending positions. So there is a great difference between the two. They have the money power, we don't have the money power. Understand our limitations and try to see that we are not becoming scapegoat or we are not becoming the victim of such act of the players. So only during specific times when they are going to move the market very actively in a moment, they are going to give a good momentum, try to enter into the market. That is very simple to understand, that whenever they make quick moves in the market, enter or exit out of the position. So with regard to the initial lows and the highs, what they set around 3:30 GMT, Euro formed the low 1.3086 and the high was 1.3125, and still they have not breached the low or the high. And in the case of GBP, 56.58 was the low and 56.77 is the high. They are not breached. So when Euro and GBP they are not breached the low or the high, indicates that there is a less volume in the market. So that is why the players are simply holding the market, and even till now, from the start of the Japanese session, after setting the initial low on the high, they are not breached them. That means there is no purpose to breach. Why? Because the market volume is very less. In such a situation, they try to simply hold with a few pips of moves in the market within the high and within the low and the high. Then in the case of yen, 82.11 is the low and 82.53 is the high. And here again they are holding USD yen around the middle level. You could have noticed that slowly from 80 to 81 they are taking it with a deep downward move on Monday. Last Monday they are just taken it on Friday to 82 level. Now if you think that they are going to drop it, they may not. There comes the difference with regard to the market play as far as USD yen is concerned. They do one-sided moves. So 82.11 could be the low, and they are expected to gain above that of 82.53 using some stories and straight go to 83, 84 slowly on a weekly basis. Then in the case of CHF, again they have made a lower level consolidation around 89 area in the case of CHF. Now they are expected to gain again above that of 82, 92. 91.90 is the low, they are not breached it. 92.16 is the high. Here again, they are not breached. So in all four majors, they are not breached the low or the high. And in the case of Canadian dollar, 99.02 is the low and 99.30 is the high. There again, it is not breached. And in the case of Australian dollar, 1.0526 is the low, 1.0575 is the high. Again, it is not breached. So it indicates that really there is a low volume condition in the market. Traders are undecisive whether to take a sell and buy trade at the current level or a buy and sell trade at the current level. And that sort of dilemmatic condition is seen. That is why the traders are avoid committing positions, and then the players also wait for them to enter. And normally when the traders wait, and because of the addictness to take positions, they wait only for a few hours. Then later on, they will not be able to control their emotions. They wanted to be participative. So normally, when the data release time comes, then they become curious and try to commit positions either before the data release or after the data release, expecting a few pips move on the upside or on the downside and try to commit. So slowly the players will widen the spread and induce the traders to commit the position. Suppose if the trader is able to see, suppose he has taken a sell and they are able to book profit. Just an example I am telling you. Then immediately what he will do, he will try to commit another sell position expecting for the drop. That is one type of tendency of the traders. Then the other tendency, suppose he has got a buy position and the market goes up to that of the high, and immediately he will book profit and try to sell there, and aiming that it will come down again in the range and book profit. So these are all the traders' psychology. The traders tend to do this sort of trade, and once they commit positions, suppose I get taken a buy position and if the market drops about 30-40 pips, then go in for an averaging. So these are all the possible type of trades that traders commit. That is the herd mentality. So they either do the averaging or book profit and just do the reversal of the trade. So when the traders do or wait for the technical signals to come and enter into the market, and these are all the possibilities. When the players know that traders have committed more positions, then quickly they start making the breaching of the high, breaching of the low and things like that. Either they do the stop and for 30 minutes, breaching the high, go above and come down in less than 30 minutes at the stop and or breach the high and stay above that high for 2 hours as an extended move, or continue the upward move for 2 sessions as an intention move. The same can happen on the downside also. These are all the only type of moves they do it on a daily basis. So if you could understand, it is a trending time because it is not the month beginning or the month end. So the in between weeks of a month or the trending time. So in that they make the week beginning false move. And to me, the week beginning false move is limited to that of the Japanese session. And they may do a week beginning false move, again a small dip, or maybe a brief downward stop and if needed below the low during start of the European session, and then start gaining the level. So what are the expected market moves for today? So swing and rise moves are expected. They could make an upward stop and above that of the high and make a downward dip below that of the low and start rising. Then US session also they may do a dip from that of the rise level and start gaining the levels. So week beginning false move may be limited to the session start times. So Japanese session start time, they just made the dip and then now they are slowly holding it and slightly gaining up to that of the high but not breaching the low. And when they stopped breaching the low for more than 30 minutes, the next alternative is an upward stop or a false move up to that of the high. Then only they start making the dip. Because they have to make the swings, only then the traders can enter into the market. If they simply hold it, then the traders will keep limit orders about 50 pips or 100 pips above that of the high or below that of the low to enter into the market as per the technical studies. Then the players may not find any volume from that of the traders. So they have to induce them to commit position. For that they have to make the swing and make the market appear it is getting strong support around that of the low. Make it appear it is getting a strong resistance around that of the high. Only then the traders commit position. Now from today, you come across in US, the session timing gets changed. That also you please make a note of it. From yesterday, the daylight saving system has been incorporated in US, but not in Europe. Europe, it is going to be from 25th of March. So European session will get reduced from 8 GMT to 13 GMT, 1 hour. Instead of 14 GMT, it will be 13 GMT from today onwards. The US session will start from 13:30 GMT and end by 20:30. Earlier it was 21:30. Now it will be 20:30 GMT. Then 20:30 GMT to 0030 GMT is the gap time before the next day. Then the Japanese session will be as usual up to 7:30. Then the gap time 7:30 to 8. 8 to 13 will be the European session. So European session timing get reduced and the US session timing will remain, the spread between the start and the end will remain because in the beginning it gains about 1 hour of the GMT. Instead of 14:30 GMT, it becomes 13:30 GMT now. Instead of 21:30, it becomes 20:30. So the period of US session will remain the same. Only thing is it shift 1 hour ahead. And from 26th onwards, you will see the Japanese session gets over by 7 GMT and European session will start by 7:30 GMT. That is the only difference. So 7 to 7:30 will be the gap time from 26th, the last week of this particular month. So these are all the session timings. Now you have to follow your session from 13:30 to 20:30 GMT. Kindly make a note of it so that you will be able to understand the type of moves. What they do is, because the session start time is nothing but 1.5 hours from the start of the session or the early session, which can be called as the early session, and 1.5 hours towards close of the session will be the late session. So 13 GMT is the closing of European session. That means from 11:30 onwards, they will start handling the majors. Then similarly, up from 13:30 to 15 GMT, they will be handling the majors. And towards close, around 1.5 hours, from 19 to 20:30 GMT, they will be handling the majors. So make a note of what are the time frames during which they will handle the majors. Then we can watch those times alone. We'll be able to find a sensible reading of the market. So let me minimize the PowerPoint presentation and try to answer to the questions which are asked here. Meanwhile, I'll focus the camera over to the live market put page. No question has been asked in this outcome window. So there could be two possibilities. One, okay, there is one question. Aviator. What is the expected move for Euro Yen? Now, as far as the Yen crosses are concerned, Euro is showing negative net change, 33 pips, and Yen is showing 20 pips negative net change, USD Yen, and GBP USD is showing 12 pips negative net change. When they show negative net change, it is a downward contrarian move. So when they make a downward contrarian move, you will come across they will try to hold the market near the low. Euro Yen is currently trading around 107.69. 107.52 is the low, and you find 53 pips negative net change is seen. And in the case of GBP Yen, it is trading around 128.86, 128.89, 129.34 is the high, 128.67 is the low. So 42 pips negative net change is seen. So you find that 20 plus 32, 20 plus 12, 32, and you find around that 42 pips negative net change is seen. Similarly, 33 plus 20, 53, and around that you come across the net change. Sometimes it will vary. It may not be exactly the same depending upon the weightage at the correct levels. So you will find a cumulative effect. Whatever you come across in Euro and GBP and Yen, the cumulative effect will be seen in the case of the Yen curve. And they are expected to, when they make week beginning a downward move, understand that they wanted to rise during the rest of the week. So nobody need to tell you, whatever the move they do during start of the week, at the end of the week, exactly opposite to that will be noticed in the market. Last week also, you would have noticed Yen was making a downward move. Like this, a contrarian move. Last Monday, I gave the webinar. You just listen to that. And you'll be able to understand that they had done the downward move. And week end, they took USD Yen to 82. Similarly, they are taken it to 108. And also in the case of GBP Yen to 129 area. Very soon we will come across GBP going to 130 and above, and also Yen about Euro Yen about 110 area. So these are all the expectations. Okay. Now, there are some more questions posted now. Okay, will Euro reach 1.2975 level today? See, nothing can be ruled out in the market, but I'm not anticipating it. I think Ram last week you asked whether it is reached 1.3095 earlier, and I was telling that it may not, but it has made it. But I'm not very sure whether they will go to 1.2975 area, but I'm expecting an upward move from that of the late Japanese session. Let us see how exactly they are doing it in Bolu. Can players manage their moves even at higher volume sessions? Yes, definitely. And when the volume increases, they also increase the volume of taking positions. Then they are able to handle the market. Because, see, they are trading through that of the bank terminal. Those who are doing the trades through bank terminal can understand that there is no need of providing instantaneous margin. You can just take the permission from that other bank and continue to take the positions, and weekly settlements are there. During that time, you have to keep adequate margin, otherwise they will close the positions. So they can commit more positions and pump in more money. That's not difficult at all because it is an earning process for them. It is not only earning process for those of the players, and those who are supporting this sort of activities are to be paid. So definitely they have to handle it. And Jack, in your monthly forecast, what is the target for euro in the month of March? I'm expecting euro to, you would have seen in my forecast, what I had given it in the month of January, that it could go to 1.3841 area. And so we have another 3 weeks to go. Let us see how aggressive they are in the upward move or the downward move, and see whether they are moving as per the expectations of the forecast or against it. So I'm keeping my mind calmly, not keeping the fingers crossed, calmly, because I always expect the unexpected. That is why I insist upon the trading strategy of using the hedging order. But they are expected to make the market move on the upside and compensate all the losses. They have made it from 1.34 to 3480 to 1.30, about 450 pips. They could be able to gain it very fast. And also in the case of GBP from 1.59 to 300 and 250 pips, they are expected to gain back. And then Jack. Okay, I explained it. Then Shan. What is your view on the USD CHF and USD CAD? USD CHF and USD CAD are expected to gain more levels in this week, and you will find very soon they are coming to the parity and above. In this week, we should be able to see USD CHF coming to 0.94 to 95 area, and Canadian dollar trading around 1.02 area. Then Scoot see the upward stop, and we should see the bid price go above that of the initial high. See, as far as the upward stop is concerned, suppose this is the initial high. No? In the upward stop, they have to go, the bid has to go above, and at least they have to do for about 20 to 30 pips above that. Minimum they do that way. Or sometimes they finish it with 15 pips during the Japanese session. But European session and all, they minimum do 30 pips above that as a high. And then afterwards they have to come down within 30 minutes. So it is the level as well as the timing we make use of to identify the type of moves. Hope you are able to understand. Yes, similarly downward stopping, they have to go below that of the low. The ask has to go below that. And they have to form at least 10 to 15 pips or 20 pips, 30 pips at times, and then go up. In less than 30 minutes, they should come above that of the low. At the coming above that of the low, at that time, the bid should come above that of the low. Similarly, going below, the ask should go below that of the initial. Hope it is clear. Then Jason. This week's trending move. Do we expect a strong rise in Euro and GBP? Yes, they could use some trigger and make a very strong move today and this week. See, the weekly potency is they can gain about 350 pips in the case of Euro, and about 600 pips in the case of GBP as a weekly limitation. On a daily basis, they can gain about 150 pips. 2 days, if they gain 150 pips, then they have to stop with it. Third day, they can gain only about 50 pips. But when they make intentional move, what they do is on a daily basis, they gain about 75 pips to 100 pips, and they continue to gain. They're expected to make an intentional upward move. That will be a slow move. Quick moves are false move, and extended moves are the quick moves. They just hold it for 2 hours and then reverse quickly. Then J. Since beginning of March, euro is dipping. You are saying that it's a contrarian move. I am not telling euro dip is a contrarian move. And euro is making a dip. Along with that of USD yen, it is a contrarian move. Hope you are able to understand. So euro is making USD gaining move now. How long do you expect the contrarian move? The contrarian moves are short-lived always. When they make this way, you see throughout the day whether they are making a contrarian move. On Friday, if you noticed it, when they made the drop in the case of euro and GBP, they made the contrarian move in the case of USD CAD and Australian. Both were in negative net change at that time. That indicated that they are making the USD gaining move in the case of euro and GBP, and USD weakening move in the case of the denominator currencies. That way they did it, excepting USDN. USDN, they made the rise, but whereas USD CHF, they made the dip, and also Canadian dollar, they made the dip. So that is mainly to handle the cross, not really to drop euro in a big way. And euro they dropped, and GBP they are holding mainly to drop euro GBP and also make a dip in the case of euro CHF, that sort of cross. By dipping about 20-30 pips net change, they don't gain much. Only if they drop about 100-150 pips, they will be able to earn very nicely. Here they could do only sporadic stop and for session start, and that will be very limited. They may not make much profit. Only when they make the extended move or the intentional move, they make very good profit. Okay. I have been observing for some time in the 4 hours chart that hit the lows twice. Okay, fine. Yeah, you can use other studies also to perfect your trading system. That is what I expect. See, every analyst will have their own system and they will try to explain the systems. But you have to consolidate all the systems and develop your own system. And that is suitable for your trading depending upon the availability of the trading time. So that way if you do it, then it will be nice for you to consistently earn from the market. And how can we profit during these contrarian moves? So, okay, when they are making a contrarian move like this, you understand that they are making a dip in the case of USDN and Euro Yen and GBP, because Euro is showing negative net change, USDN is showing negative net change, GBP is showing negative net change. It is a mid session. So what you can do, you can take a buy when the new low has not been breached in the case of Euro Yen. 117.52 is not been breached for 30 minutes, and also they are not breached the low in the case of Euro for 30 minutes, and in the case of GBP 30 minutes. In the case of Yen 30 minutes, and also in the case of Euro Yen 30 minutes. If they are not breached it, take a buy closer to the downside, and they will be able to make a very and use 50 pips staging order. Once they start gaining the levels of 20-30 pips, you keep stop at entry and try to book profit because it is a mid session. So when they make contrarian move, we try to focus on the crosses. When they make the USD gaining move or the USD weakening move, trade in the kind of the majors, so you'll be able to quickly book profit. That is how we have to identify the currency pairs where you can take position. Now, in the case of euro, they made the dip. 30.85 has become the new low, and now 30.86 is the highest. 30.84 is the bid. So now they just made a one fifth dip. In the case of GBP, they have not done it. So carefully they are trying to do it. It shows. It is not that they wanted to make a very big drop. They are carefully handling the stocks closer to that and then try to gain the level. All the players same as the institutions. The institutions are different. Players are different. Institutions have got the money from that of the high net worth individuals and they try to trade it. But sometimes they get the information from that of the bank, how exactly the order flow is there and things like that. But the players are different. They are spread all over the world. From different parts of the world, they try to place the orders. So I expect them to hit 1.2975 euro. Okay, fine. Thanks for sharing the information from Jacob. I expected move for GBP. Okay. GBP is expected. They have done the drop and in order to change the market sentiment, they have to first of all reverse GBP. And that has been indicated already. Euro is showing 38 pips negative net change and GBP is showing only 11 pips negative net change. That means they want to reverse GBP first and change the market sentiment and suddenly start trapping the short sellers. And if they don't trend up weak, can we expect them to trend downward? Yeah, that is the alternative. Otherwise, they have to make sideways moves. These are all the three possibilities in the market. See, forecast is always give the expectation, and the actual market can just follow it, or it can just like that ignore it and make an opposite move. And then, was Friday an extended or intentional move? On Friday, they just made the intentional move on the downside because they would have found that a lot of traders are holding long positions. And they are expected to gain the levels after the non-farm payroll, even though the non-farm payroll was relatively positive. And they simply continue to make the USD gaining more on the downside, similar to last time non-farm payroll. Then if they don't trend up this week, can we expect them to trend down? Yeah, that is a possibility, I said, but I'm expecting that upward trend move in this month and next month. Yeah, euro breached the low. I'm able to see these moves from what we have taught. I'm using input from. Okay, fine. So the questions are answered. So let me go back to the PowerPoint presentation. So in the case of euro, they have breached the initial low and formed now 3082, 3086. In less than 30 minutes, if they come above 3086, that means it is a downward stop. If they just stay below 3086 for more than 30 minutes, understand that they could hold it for another 2 hours. 1.5 hours, already 30 minutes over. So another 1.5 hours, they will be holding below that. That will be an extended move. In case if they continue to hold it, expect the intentional move for 2 sessions, Japanese and the European session. Only US session they can reverse it. So watch carefully and then commit the position. And they cannot continuously drop or continuously rise. They have to make volatile moves in the market. And on a daily basis, you come across a buy and sell and sell and buy trading opportunities. But identify at the right time whether it is a buy and sell trade or a sell and buy trade. Then you will be benefited. In the case of GBP, they have not breached the low, which indicates that they wanted to gain. Now, in the case of euro, they are just slowly coming up. Let us see whether it is a stop. And yen, they have not breached the low or the high. CHF, they have not breached the low or the high. They have breached in the case of CHF by 1 pip. They wanted to gain the level. In tandem with the euro cutting the low, they just made the breach of the high in the case of USD CHF. And the commodity pairs, Canadian dollar, they have not breached the low or the high. Australian dollar, they are not, they breached the low. And 521 is the new low. 526 was the initial low. So they just initially made a downward stop and see whether it is a stop and or an extended move or an intentional move. Then commit positions for today's trading. Then the forecast expectation is swing and rise moves during Japanese session. And a dip during European session. I think the rise may not happen in a big way. Probably it might be a small firming up, then a dip during start of the European session, and then that thereon the rise could happen. Then a small dip might or it may occur as a swing for a higher level. They may not breach the low and then start gaining the levels during the day because they are holding the market just around that of the Friday close level without much of a drastic move, and the reversal potency is seen. They make about 75 pips and above the negative net change, then the reversal may not happen on the same day. You know about it. So I take this opportunity to thank FX Trade and also you people who have come here to listen to my webinar. And I'll again come back by tomorrow, same time, 5 to 5:30. I'll try to do the analysis for you and we'll try to determine what sort of moves they are doing it and also what trading opportunities we could capture. Thank you one and all. See you tomorrow.